What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. We're going to look at Tirna Scithe. This is a dungeon in the rotation for Season 1 of the War Within. I'm going to do all the dungeons that are going to be in the rotation for Season 1. I'm going to do a quick guide. I'm going to try and keep it at like 10 to 12 minutes. Wish me luck. That's probably not going to happen. But we're going to start with Mists of Tirna Scithe. And this is an old school dungeon coming back from Shadowlands. And if you didn't play Shadowlands, that's okay. I'm gonna walk you through the whole dungeon. And I think this is probably one of the simplest dungeons in the rotation, if I had to take a guess at it. Now, of course, I have done the dungeon a lot because I played Shadowlands a lot. So that's sort of a different story. But there is a bunch of little tips and tricks I'll tell you on the dungeon here. First and foremost, at the beginning, there used to be walls that you could unlock to create extra pathways, and then also to get graveyard respawn points in the dungeon. Now, it used to be based on being Night Fae. Now you have to basically be Tauren or Night Elf. You used to be able to do it with Herbalism, but I don't think Herbalism works anymore. I'd have to like double check that. It's been working for some, not working for others. Blizzard will have to confirm this at some point, but it's based on like racial stuff now. So again, Tauren for Horde, Night Elf for Alliance, or Druids. Just Druids in general can also do it. And I think Herbalism, but that's been hit or miss, okay? So you can open this door at the beginning and unlock a better route through the dungeon. These opening packs are actually very dangerous, okay? This is one of the most dangerous pulls you'll probably do if you're going to pull them all together like this. Quick disclaimer on my build. This is this was me experimenting with the Stormbringer build that unfortunately just isn't performing very well right now. So this is an Ellie Stormbringer build. It's just, I wish it was better, but it's not. We end up blowing up this pack, but in higher keys, you will not. Okay, and you're gonna it's very, very dangerous. There are multiple kicks you need to get. I'm going to explain them in a minute because the mobs that are in this pack are the same mobs that are in the other packs. This big tree looking guy, he does a big blue frontal here called Bewildering Poison. Pollen, sorry, and then he will target one of your allies with like this blue beam. Okay, he's doing it right now. He stretches out his hand and he's channeling this blue beam at one of our buddies. That's gonna automatically stun somebody. The only way to get around this is to use like an immunity, or to use maybe like a Night Elf racial, I think, to go to like dropping combat with like Vanish on a rogue, or using Turtle, or those kinds of things. Now, you can also skip this pack right here. I would recommend skipping it generally, but if you don't, early on in the season, it's probably better to just kill this pack and get used to killing it. But you can do a Paralyze plus a Ring of Peace. You can do a Demon Hunter Cage. We'll do it. I believe if you do a Polymorph from a Mage, it'll put you in combat. It's very temperamental. That mob that you can CC back there, it's really hit or miss. Some of the abilities that work and some of them that don't. So just be careful about that. Sometimes it's just easier to kill these packs. One of the most dangerous abilities in the opening packs in general is Harvest Essence. This is an AoE channel that these guys do, and it's called the Drust Harvester. They're going to tag all your allies with like these harvest beams, and they're going to drain life out of you, and it does a ton of damage to your team and restores a lot of health to that guy. So it must be interrupted. You need to use Roar, use your AoE CC to stop these guys, use Incap, use Ring of Peace, Shadow Flame, whatever. Single target stuns, anything you can use. You can just kick it. It's a kickable ability. So is Spirit Bolt. Spirit Bolt will start to hurt later on when you get to higher keys, but there's the Harvest Essence. Once again, this guy's healing right now. We got to make sure we stop it. So very important to crowd control that stuff, okay? Now, once you kill this last guy, there's another wall. This is, again, Druid, Tauren, Night Elf, Herbalism, maybe. There's a bunch of buffs in here that you can get. The green mushrooms give you 10% main stat. And then the purple mushrooms give you like 10% stamina. I think it's pretty much always worth it to go with the 10% main stat. And you can see the little mushroom icon on the top. So we have that buff now. I think even for tanks, it's better to go main stat pretty much always. Here's two Drust Bow Breakers. This guy was in the previous pack as well, or 2 packs ago that we skipped. The reason you skip these guys is because they have a very annoying ability. Once they get to half HP, they're going to start AoE slamming the ground. But besides that, they do bramble burst. They'll put a little bramble under your feet. You need to run away from it. Here comes the Furious Thrashing. This requires a healing cooldown, and ideally you don't want to have both Furious Thrashes going on at the same time. The ideal way to kill this pack is to sort of single target down one of the mobs and then single target down the second mob. If you just evenly DPS them, you're going to get double Furious Thrashing going on, and that's very dangerous. In a higher key, that will kill you. So again, we didn't do this kind of probably, but we weren't. I'm just pugging this. We weren't really coordinated, so it doesn't really matter. And the key level is not that high. But on the higher keys, you really are going to have to think hard about what you're doing. If you have both Furious Thrashes going off, you're probably going to die. Here's Ingra Maloch. This is the first boss. What you need to do on this boss fight is DPS down the tree first. Get the tree down to like about a quarter of its HP. Once you do that, it's going to turn friendly. You can see right now it's sort of being mind controlled with those little swirlies around it by Ingra. You can't DPS Ingra right now. He has like a 99% damage reduction aura while the tree is still your enemy. Once you DPS the tree down far enough, then it will become friendly, and then it will debuff Ingra and make him take double damage. So what you want to do in this fight is save all your cooldowns. Here it comes right here. Now the tree is channeling into Ingra. We're going to pop Lust. This is when you would want to pop Lust, and when you would want to have all your big cooldowns, your big 2-minute cooldowns, 1-minute cooldowns, 3-minute cooldowns, whatever it is. Just blast Ingra in this moment when he takes double damage. So unfortunately, the build that I was running here was like really bad for this, but you can see the damage that these guys are doing is significant because they're doing double damage right now. And then he's going to come out of that after a little while. He's going to soul shackle the tree again, and you have to rinse and repeat. Typically on this fight, you have to do this twice. Tyrannical weeks, you might have to do it 3 times potentially, but if you have to do it 3 times, you're in so much trouble. He will also do a fear. I'm not sure if he's going to do it here. Let me just see really quickly. Ingra has a kickable Spirit Bolt. You want to kick Spirit Bolt for sure. Very, very important. He also has an AoE fear. This is a raid. It's called Repulsive Visage. So if you're a shaman, you can actually take Tremor Totem, and you should take Tremor Totem. I didn't have it here because I just forgot to take it, but you should take Tremor Totem. You're going to get immediate value out of Tremor Totem every time. If you have anything that removes fear from your character, so warriors can do it, then that's very helpful. Then once he's done that, he's going to do this ability here, which is very, very dangerous. This just puts a ticking dot on everybody. So it further emphasizes how quickly you need to DPS the tree. We're all going to take damage now, a lot of damage over time. The healer has to really pump here. But if we get the tree down, then he's going to mind control Ingra again, and then boom, our debuff is gone. So you have to basically be able to pump a lot of single target damage into that tree so that you can stop yourself from taking this ticking damage. And then again, you're going to get this double damage phase where you're able to kill the boss very, very quickly, and all your abilities are going to hit really hard, and it's going to feel good. And if you don't quite kill Ingra in the double damage phase, he's not entirely immune to damage. I think I said 99% reduction. I don't know what it is exactly. It's probably like a 90% reduction. He'll still take some damage, so you can still DPS him down, but it's not ideal to DPS him down that way normally. Like, it's way, way too slow. Okay, welcome to the maze. Also, you just saw the druid. The druid's running over here. This is the next thing that the Tauren or the druid or the night elf can do. They can unlock these seeds. These are the new graveyard respawn points. These are very helpful, okay? If you die, you'll get a really, really good respawn point. You don't have to run back from the beginning. Welcome to the maze. Okay, if you saw at the beginning, there is our next boss called Mistcaller. She's here, and she goes, more friends are here to play, come along. She's gonna run through one of these doors. So right off the bat, you can see that she ran straight back into this door here. You have to basically solve a puzzle with these little pedestals, these little wooden pedestals. They're gonna put up a symbol. It's either gonna be a flower or a leaf, and the flower or the leaf can either be full or empty, and the flower or leaf can have a circle around it or not have a circle around it, okay? There's a bunch of variations. So here we go. Here's my flower with a circle and it's full. There's a leaf with a circle and it's full, okay? There's a leaf with a circle, but it's not full. And then this final one here is just an empty flower with no circle. So basically what we just found is that you have to find the odd symbol out, okay? So there was 3 symbols there that all had circles around them, and there was 1 symbol that didn't. That was the symbol that we want to choose, okay? So you can see the healer's running around right now, and I do think this is probably going to end up happening. This will very likely become a healer job, which I don't. If you hate that, I understand, but it's very efficient for a healer to just run around and get all these symbols to check them all, so they can figure out which door to go through next. If you walk through the wrong door that doesn't have the right symbol on it, then you'll get teleported back to the beginning of the maze, and you will lose a significant amount of time. It is not ideal to do that. So you can see this was a flower, an empty flower with a circle. This is a full flower with no circle. He's going to run over here. He's checking this. Oh, okay. He already figured out this here. Now, back in the day in Shadowlands, there was an add-on that used to tell you, I think it was called Maze Helper. It literally would, once you found each of the symbols, once you revealed each one of the symbols, it would do the calculation for you, and it would tell you exactly where to go, basically. So I'm not sure if Blizzard is going to allow us to use that add-on again, if it's going to get like private Aura'd or something, but this is a job that somebody's going to have to do. Somebody's going to have to figure out the RP in this dungeon. You can see the healer's running around again. That's Relentless. He's doing a great job. He's already found one of them. Looks like a flower, I think, with a circle, empty flower. So, you know, whether you like this or hate it, I understand. It is what it is. But you're going to have to figure out how to do this part of the dungeon, okay? Now, you can see that those guys were charging me. That's a new ability that comes out. They will charge random ranged enemies. It doesn't do a lot of damage. Nourish the Forest is the most important kick you want to get in here, okay? Nourish the Forest will basically put a ramping, like, heal over time on all of the enemies if you let it go off. So do not let Nourish the Forest go off. Very, very, very bad if that goes off. That's going to massively increase the time it takes for you to kill this. And then there's new puddles that go on the ground. So there's puddles. The tanks get hit with Anima Slash. That's a tank debuff. It does a lot of damage. There's mobs that put puddles on the ground. That's actually a new thing. If you played it in Shadowlands, there were no puddles. And then these moths will jump at people and put like a debuff on them. I believe it's a poison, so it can be removed with poison. You can see Relentless, I think, just removed that. So Poison Dispel is going to be really good here. I do think if you have Poison Cleanse Totem as a shaman, you can get rid of it. I'm pretty sure it's a poison. Somebody fact check me there. It could be disease, but I'm like 99% sure it's a poison. Okay, so that's this pack. There's different packs that do different things. I'm going to show you the symbols in a little bit on the Mistcaller fight, because the Mistcaller fight actually shows you the symbols in a much better way. The Mistveil Tender is the most important thing. There we go. That's the one that does the Nourish the Forest heal. Then there's the Guardian, and then there's another guy I'm going to show you in a minute. He does this thing called Bramblethorn, and he's not in this pack, so we're going to kill this pack. And then we'll move to the next one, and I'm going to show you that you get this guy too. This is just a random guy that you might get. The maze is like random. So you might go through one door. You might get sent through a different door. The maze is going to be different every time you go in this dungeon, which is kind of cool. But it also means you have to like pay attention and try to figure it out. And yeah, this guy can be very deadly, but requires a lot of single target damage. So this is one of the guys that you can run into. He does a big AoE. He does a frontal tongue lash. He does a leap. There's nothing too special about him, okay? Next pack, we have a Guardian and a Tender. And then I believe we have the guy that does the Bramblethorn as well. We'll try and find him in a second here. So this is, you know, these are the kinds of packs you're going to get in the middle of the dungeon. There's Bramblethorn. So you're going to find like in the maze, it's only ever packs of like 4 or 5. That's basically it. So again, if you have classes like a shaman who don't have really crazy uncapped AoE damage, they should be able to shine here. They should do a lot more damage. But yeah, you're going to have to, I would say that you're going to have to think about like how you want to build out your character. Like for example, if you're playing Devastation Evoker, I think it would be really, really good to do Scale Commander in this dungeon, because you're going to get the triple disintegrates. And on small packs like this, having triple disintegrate is going to do way more damage than whatever your Pyre is doing. So I do think that you have to think about this now when you're going into these dungeons. What is the damage profile going to look like? Do I need small, like, do I need uncapped AoE damage, or do I need more like cleave damage? So that's really important to understand thinking about these kinds of packs. Bramblethorn Coat is going to root all of us if we let it go off. We kicked it, but it'll root all of your allies in place. You can break the root with things like disengage or whatever, but it does a ticking damage over time and roots you. It's very, very dangerous. So Bramblethorn has to be kicked as well, okay? That's basically all the mobs in there, and then we'll get to Mistcaller. Once you're done the maze, you're going to get to this Mistcaller fight. This fight also incorporates the symbols from the maze. Okay, so that's important. You're gonna have to do that puzzle. You have to play dodgeball with her. There is a kick that only the tank can get. It's called patty cake. Kind of funny, but that's only kickable by the tank. The tank must kick this or he will get incapped. He'll take like nearly all of his health. He'll die almost, and then he'll get incapped. So then Mistcaller will start running after all your allies and start killing them. So must be kicked by the tank. Then there's freeze tag. This spawns a fox. This is the most annoying part of this fight. It spawns a fox that will fixate somebody. If the fox gets to the person that they're fixated on, they're going to explode and do a bunch of ice, do a bunch of damage and freeze all nearby allies. And then if you get hit with the dodgeball afterwards, you will die. So the fox cannot reach any of your allies. So things like entangling roots, paralyze, an incap of some kind are really, really good. Here's the guessing game. This has got the symbols in it. So here we go. Now you're going to take a look at the symbols, and I'm going to show you all of them. We have a empty flower with no ring, full flower with a ring, full leaf with a ring, and then empty leaf with a ring. So what's the common denominator here? 3 of these have rings around them. 1 does not. So the one that doesn't have a ring around it, that's the one that we want. Okay. We're going to immediately try. I'm going to take a look at it, and then I go, okay, it's this one over here. So you do have to figure that out on the fly in the middle of this fight. And then this is kind of an intermission phase where you have to kill this clone, and Mistcaller is immune to damage, and you take pulsing damage over time. So this is a good time to pop your defensives. This is a good time to use any extra healing like ancestral guidance, yada yada. Okay, that's the whole fight. Patty cake, dodgeball, the fox, and then the guessing game. And again, the guessing game is the most important part. The faster you figure out the guessing game, the better it'll be. So here, we're going to get guessing game one more time. I'm going to try and take a look at it for you. And I'll show you again what the symbols look like, because it's important just to understand. Okay, we've got a empty leaf with a circle, empty flower with a circle, empty flower, full leaf. So again, the common denominator between all of these is that they are empty, empty, empty. We don't have circles around them all this time. We have 3 empty ones and 1 full one. So then we know right away that the full one is the odd man out. That is our symbol. That's what we're looking for. So hopefully you understand that. If you've never done it before, it's going to take some getting used to, but you're looking for the odd symbol out, the one that does not match the other ones. And I will say to you, if you do not kill the correct symbol in this fight, everybody on your team will take like 75% of their health in damage. It is incredibly punishing. So do not fake it. Don't jump the gun. Don't mess it up. Take your time. Be patient. Get it done. Otherwise, you're going to end up killing your whole team. So that's that fight, okay? Then we jump down to the bottom here. And there's one last graveyard position that the druids and the taurens and the night elves and the herbalists can get, I think anyway. There's right down here, this little cocoon looking thing. The druids and taurens, you go get that. And once you click on that, that's your last graveyard spawn point. Now, here's the last part of the dungeon. This has got a bunch of staghorn creatures that are very dangerous. They do a bunch of acidic abilities. And then these staghorn guys, they have 2 casts that are important. The one that we just kicked, which is called something stimulation, I think. Basically, there's one ability where he's going to put a shield, a magic absorb shield called Stimulate Resistance, goes on all nearby enemies, or he's going to start channeling a regeneration aura that's going to heal all nearby enemies. So you have to kick both of them. So it'd be good to assign some kicks if you have them, like, hey, I'm always going to kick first, you're always going to kick second. Volatile acid is another ability that comes down from the other worms. That is just like, you can CC them and stop them from doing it, but they'll just start casting it again. Like, the longer you can delay them casting the ability, the better. That puts green circles on your allies, and then it does damage over time. So there's 2 acid things going on. The main staghorn guy does an unavoidable acid thing on everybody, and then there's the volatile acids, which are single target and have a little ring around you. They're very, very dangerous. So again, there's a lot of damage that gets pumped out in this last section of the dungeon. There's also the opportunity in the last section of the dungeon to do some really big pulls. You can basically pull a huge swaths of this together if you want to. Now, it's important to understand that you have to make sure you're getting all the kicks, get all the CC, and you're going to be taking a crazy amount of damage. So be very careful. There's these patrolling wasps. They will jump on people and there's Relentless has 2 of them on right now, so Relentless is probably going to die unless he bubbles. I think he dies. There we go. Like, that's just too much to handle, right? You can't have 2 acids plus 2 acid novas, or an acid nova plus 2 bug poisons. Like, it's just way too much. So it's very dangerous to pull really big in here unless you're ready to go and you're coordinated with the kicks and the crowd control. If you're not coordinated, you're going to end up running into some serious trouble, because there's that magic absorb shield that just went off, and then there's more acid novas going off, there's volatile acid going off. I mean, it's just incredibly dangerous. So in the higher keys, you know, the bigger teams are going to probably have to try and pull these packs together and make it a really, really big pull. But for the average player, it's probably better to just go pack to pack, and to be very careful about that. The last thing is this ground effect swirly. If you get hit by this ground effect swirly, first of all, it'll probably kill you. If it doesn't kill you, it's going to knock you off the edge of the map and you're going to die anyway. So that's very dangerous as well. Okay? That's the last section of the dungeon. There's just multiple packs of worms that you're going to end up killing. You're going to bring them together. Again, this is the same idea. We're doing a big pull here. I get a big Tempest proc here, which is kind of nice. Boom. And it's still not doing any damage, but you know. Again, this is mostly the volatile acid guys. Very dangerous. We're going to get to the last boss, who is in fact a big bug. Before that, we're going to clear off the last bit of trash here. It's really your option to figure out how you want to pull the trash in the last section of this dungeon. It really is up to you. There's multiple different routes that you can go down. There's multiple pathways, and there's lots of different trash that it's just up to you what you want to do, which I think is kind of nice. That's a cool little thing for any dungeon. Anytime a dungeon incorporates the choice for the players to be able to decide how they want to run that route, that's always a good thing in my mind. Okay. Final boss is Tre'dova. This is a big worm. She had some adjustments made to her recently, but there's a lot of abilities going on here. So first of all, she is going to cast an ability that puts a swirly under your feet, and it's a little green swirly. Over the course of the fight, she basically learns your pattern of movement, and then subsequent casts will start following you where she thinks you're going to move. So the boss will try and predict where you're going to move, and those green swirlies will follow you, which is really interesting and potentially dangerous. These little bugs spawn. They're going to fixate somebody. The fixating bugs, if you get fixated, you need to just run to wherever the tank is and just stand there and like pop a defensive and let everybody else AoE the bugs down, okay? Then we do Mind Link. That puts this blue beam between everybody, and you have to run away from the person, whoever's originating the beam, okay? Run away from that person. And then there's Coalescing Poison. This slowly sucks you into the middle of the arena where she's going to kill you, and puts a big puddle there. You're going to have to run away, use your mobility, try and get away from that. And then there's Consumption. She goes into the middle. She gets a shield. You have to DPS the shield. All the while, there's these big white swirlies raining down, and you're taking pulsing damage. Once you get rid of the Consumption shield, you can kick Consumption. There it is. Now it's kickable. So somebody kicks it, and that stops the swirlies from going down. So that's a very dangerous moment. You're going to need defensives probably for that on the higher keys. You can see the swirlies are starting to move now. They're starting to predict where I'm going. So it's kind of following my movement, which is pretty cool. And then that's it. That's rinse and repeat. Here comes the ads once again. There's the Coalescing Poison plus the Mind Link. You need to get away from your friends and get away from the middle. And then she's going to put puddles on under our feet again, which are going to follow us. We'll see where they follow me this time. It starts to really fill up the room. Both the puddles that follow you and the bugs, whenever the bugs die, they leave a puddle as well. So the room will start to get very, very frustrating to navigate, especially for melee players. This fight is incredibly anti-melee friendly. Like, it's not even close. So I'm getting fixated by the bugs, so the tank comes to me because he's an absolute Chad. And then we're going to DPS these bugs down. They do need to die. It's very important that those bugs die. And hopefully that they die together, because they drop a bunch of puddles. There's the things that are slowly following us. And then there you go. That's the entire fight. Okay? That is Mists of Tirna Scythe. I would say this dungeon is one of the simpler dungeons to understand. For me, obviously, I've done it hundreds of times in Shadowlands, so it's very easy for me to understand. If this is your first time doing it, it's probably a little overwhelming. I understand that. But I think that this is, of all the dungeons I've done, this is one of the simplest ones. It's one of the easier ones to do, and I think that you're going to have a lot of fun in here. As you get into the higher key levels, I think it is going to start to get not frustrating, but very difficult, especially like the Mistcaller boss fight. If you mess that one up in any way, you're in such big trouble. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is going to be one of the dungeons that I think people are going to be able to get into the easiest. And it's got some really good items in here as well, like Changeling, which is a really, really huge trinket. So lots of good reasons to want to run this dungeon. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know which dungeon you want me to do next. I'm going to be covering all the dungeons in this kind of deep dive format, letting you know all the things that you need to be looking out for. So stay tuned for those. Thanks so much again. Love you all. I'll see you in the next one.